Just when you think you know what you're going to do for the day, the boss says we're doing something else. I thought we were going to be cutting logs today, but Dad wants to get the rest of these walnut hauled in, so, which is understandable because we're supposed to get more bad weather, and, well, they need to be hauled into the yard so we can get rid of them. So, today we're going to be hauling more walnut. 2 or 3 more loads, what we got to haul into the yard, so it's not, luckily we don't have very far to go to haul them, but, you know, any guys know that haul logs or anything, it's time consuming. It is. It just point A, load up, back to point B, unload, point A, load up. You get the gist of it. So, I'm headed right now out to the log yard. We gotta bring the Mack in, fuel it up. Dad wants to fuel it up before we go, which is probably a good idea because running out of fuel is never a good thing. So we'll fuel up, and then we'll start hauling some logs in. Everybody that ordered their harvester, their logger threads, not the harvester, that's what's been on my mind, the new design. Everybody that's ordered the logger threads fuel design, you should be getting those shirts, I would think, probably tomorrow or Saturday, because we ship fast, and they're on their way. So, excited about that. I'm excited to put one on myself and wear it. So, let's go let's get this show on the road. Let's get to hauling some wood. We're already on our second load for the morning. Of course we finished up over here where we were at in yesterday's video. We got those all finished up. And when I say second load, I guess this would be our second load. We unloaded the logs from last night. We didn't unload those last night. We unloaded them this morning or yesterday afternoon, evening, whatever you call it. So we unloaded those, come over here to where we started yesterday and finished that pile up. And now we're going over here to a different part of the branch. Creek crossed here. Now sometimes I'll ride with Dad in the Mack, not very often. Like I said, I always like to have my truck because I keep the saws in the back of my truck, and sometimes Dad will put a saw in the Mack. It just depends. But I'm always, it seems like there's been times where we haven't brought my truck somewhere and something breaks. I'm like, man, if we'd only brought my truck, we could have fixed this or addressed the problem. So I'm always paranoid about bringing my truck places. I always like to have my truck on the job site, just because of everything that's on it. Crossed here. Yeah, here's these next little pile of logs over here. Get circled around here. I might have to buck some of these up. Once again, why I like to bring my truck. Yeah, some of these are going to be long. Some of those are going to be long. And there's another pile besides these, too. But we'll see if we can't get out here and make a hand with these. Some of these are long. Like I said, we're getting them worked up here as we load them. Full 661. What we're using today. 404 chain on it. That guy there, I'm surprised it cut off as good as it did. It's pretty ornery. Pretty ornery old log, license scar on it. Of course, you can see there in the butt, it did cut a little bad in the butt. That's no surprise though, looking at it. And other than having size, these here are just logs. They're just old hillside logs, is all they are. They're nothing spectacular. Lumber. Number 2 and number 1 grade, mostly lumber logs. But they do have a little size to them, that's what helps them out. We'll let Dad grab that there, and I'm going to trim this piece here up, round it. Up we go. Alright. Got one more to buck up here, that long one there. We'll wait till Dad gets these other few put on there. I don't like standing under that picker while he's loading. If something was to go wrong, it'd smash me like a pancake. Yeah, hard hat or not, I don't care if a log or a limb that big or something falls on you. That little plastic hard hat ain't gonna do a whole lot for you. I wear mine, but consciously I know that if something like that was to happen, it's really not gonna matter in the end. Argue if you want. The old poison ivy. Now see these trees, you're right here kind of under this is the back side of the mound I was talking about yesterday, and they grew right here kind of beneath them, and they were pushed out. We cut them off once they were pushed out. Like I said, they're just logs. They're nothing spectacular. Now this big one here, that's a pretty good log there. That's a good clean log. It'll have a real good 10-foot log in it. Just getting these loaded, I'm going to put that thing to length right now. He's going to get this last one. We're done with that pile. There's two more piles, and you can kind of see here along this creek, and this is pretty typical for Missouri, especially for southwestern Missouri. I don't want to say we're up in the hills, but at the same time, we're not really down in the flatland either. But these little branches and draws and ditches and creeks, they're usually good for walnut. I mean, they are, and I mean, you can see a few trees growing along here, and man, honestly, there's no telling how many walnut trees my dad's cut off this farm in his time. He's cut a lot of walnut off this farm, and we're down here cutting it again. And that's like what he taught me. My dad manages timber really well, really well. That's how we're able to go back to the same farm time and time again, and learning that at an early age has helped me when I go to cut timber, how I look at timber and how I manage it. And I've been logging for, I guess about 18 years now, and there's already farms that I've been going back to since I've been logging full time. We've got some we're ready to go back to now that I've cut on, and it's nice. It's a good feeling, to know you manage that timber properly, and you can go back and do a harvest again. Like I said, some of these trees were pushed out with the track loader, and then we cut the logs out, and that's why we're loading up now. Dad can probably sit there and load all those in one spot. We'll get out here and kind of look things over. Grab my gloves here. Old Max is screaming. Now here's something that's pretty common in southwest Missouri. We call it bird peck, worm, some names for it. See it all through the bark there. That is considered a defect in the wood. It's a stain, and the bad thing is that's out of my control, and it's out of my control when log buyers deduct us on price for that. But it never fails. We have landowners who want to argue about, it just adds character, it should be worth more. Yeah, theoretically it probably should be, but man, those are the rules that are applied to me, and I can't fight that in any way. I was hoping I could find some of the holes here, and I mean it's real easy. Well, you see all these holes in the wood. That's how you know the tree's going to be wormy. I mean, most of the time when we look at these trees, we can see all these little holes throughout the tree there, and we know it's going to be a wormy log. And on the lumber, it doesn't so much hurt it, but when you get into some good trees that got some size, some good veneer trees, when they're showing worm or peck, that's when it really starts to knock the price down. That's when you really start to feel it. See that one there? It's ate up too with the worm. And we've noticed it's always real abundant where there's a lot of cattle, which, southwest Missouri is cattle country. I would say 95% of all farms we cut on or tracts of land have cattle. They're working cattle operations. And we've always noticed worm is always abundant when there's a lot of cattle around, or if we're cutting in, if the walnut trees are growing in like cedar glades or there's a lot of cedar around, that's when we notice there's always a lot of worm in them. That's a good log there. Good log there. That's a multiple cut veneer log. It don't look like it's showing any worm. Now a lot of times, we used to have veneer cells on our yard 2 and 3 times a year, which we still will, but we don't do them like we used to, the big ones, because the good big veneer logs are getting harder to come by. But it's not uncommon when you have in veneer buyers, they want you to clip the ends of those logs. They want to see a fresh cut. And you can't hide the truth then. I mean, when you clip the ends of those logs, you know, you might shave off an inch just to, like I said, show the logs fresh. And those worm will really shine. That's part of the reason I like to take my logs. Like you notice when we take them to the skid steer and we lay them out, buck them to lengths and lay them out in a row. I like to get the fresh air and the sun to them because it does. I mean, it helps the appearance of them. It kind of bleaches them, turns them all the same color. That sap will kind of start fading more to the brown. It won't be near as bright and prominent like it is when they're fresh cut. And I just think they look better. They're easier to get a measurement on, easier to get a scale stick on. That's one of the main reasons there why we do it. And if you watch our videos, you'll hear me say in past videos that our log buyers really appreciate it when we lay the logs out. It makes their job easier, and I think that reflects. I think that trickles on down the line when they're happy to buy your logs. It's easy. I like to think they're a little more generous on the scale. I'm a little more generous with the checkbook. And then when we're done, I like to pile the logs up for the truck driver, because when a truck driver is not griping at a log buyer, I don't have to hear it. So when the truck drivers are happy to come get your logs, the log buyers are happy. Just everybody's happy. You're happy, happy, happy. So that's what we look for. And you see that old log up there in front there, it's got a bad lightning scar on it too. It's just a lumber grade log. The lightning's bad with walnut trees. I mean, that's a common enemy of walnuts, lightning. That's about to get a load, a big load. I mean, a real big load. Now, yesterday in some of these comments, I haven't got back to any comments from yesterday's video yet, but they were asking if we were going to cut the oak off this job. And no, not currently at the moment, we're not. But these oak trees up here, I love cutting oak like this out here in the open. These big trees. Now, you can see they've been trimmed up, and the reason why is because these trees probably won't. I don't want to say they won't ever be cut, but they're here for shade, and they're trimmed up that way a tractor and brush hog can get under them. Because I mean, you can see the cows are right there in front of us, but they keep these trees out here trimmed so they can brush hog this and kind of take care of it and keep it clean. Beautiful view up here on top of the hills. And this other pile of logs over here, Dad's behind me a bit in the Mack. I come ahead and open the gates, because these gates over here, like I said, with the cattle being there, they have to stay shut. So I come ahead and got the gates opened, and we'll just leave them open because I don't think those guys are too concerned about trying to escape on us. They're just hanging out over there on the hillside enjoying the sunny weather for another day or two until we get this next round of junk weather Saturday. I guess of course, you know, you never know about the weather, but they've already changed the forecast a couple times, and now they're saying it could be a pretty bad storm Saturday. But it's like that old guy there, it's been lightning struck. It's not a real good tree anyway, but gosh, rough old pasture here. But I do like cutting these oak trees out here in these pastures. They're easy to get to. It just comes back to me being lazy. You ain't got to fight a lot of underbrush. And a lot of times, you know, they're short-bodied trees out here, but they've got really good diameter. They've got some real size to them out here in these pastures. Most of the time, they don't grow real tall, but they make up for it on the diameter. So I kind of see that pile of logs over there we're going to. I'm just gonna ease on over here and wait on Dad. And I'll buck them if I have to. They've put a new fence in here as part of the reason why some of these trees were cut. As you can see, I mean, let's get over here, look at this. Here's a prime example of one of these big pasture trees I'm talking about. That's a big tree there, big red oak, black oak, whatever you want to call it. That's a big chunk of wood there. A lot of footage. A lot of footage. Last bunch of them headed in today. I can remember about 2 years ago when they pushed the fence row out going on up the mound there. We cut all, and you can kind of get a little better idea how steep that thing is. Of course, like I said, you never can tell in these videos, but that's a pretty tall point here in Cedar County, what they call the mound. But these are some of the old root balls and stuff where they pushed out for this new fence. But we did cut several logs out of this, and I'm trying to remember what skidder we used. One of those little cable skidders, and man, it was cold. It was cold that day doing it. Like to froze to death. It's funny how you remember some things like that. But that's it right there. Gonna get up here, close the gate behind Dad, and we'll take these to the yard and unload. And then maybe tomorrow we're gonna cut some timber. I can't understand Dad wanting to get them in though. I mean, that's totally understandable. We did need to get them hauled in, especially with the bad weather coming. So I'm glad to get them in. Just one less thing we got to worry about. Now we can focus on getting some of these trees laid down. Of course, I've got stupid seatbelt. I've got to go look at some timber tomorrow. So cut in the morning, go look at timber in the afternoon. Then I guess we'll wait and see what the weather does for Saturday. More freezing rain and junk. But guys, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it as always. The fuel image, the fuel design t-shirts, they're in. So if you've been waiting to order one, to not do it on pre-order, and because they're shipping now, like the fuel design is now shipping at loggerthreads.com. So go check out the new fuel design. Hopefully in the next week we'll have the new design, the harvester, up for pre-order, and we'll start getting those ready to roll out. So check that out. Check out all the equipment listings on timbertracker.net. If you got some surplus equipment or forestry products, get over there and put it up for sale. List that stuff. You can list for free with a promo code TIMBERFREE when you go to checkout. So that'll get you your first listing for free. Get it out there, and we'll handle the rest, or should I say, Shanae will handle the rest. She'll put all that stuff in front of the right people who need to see it. Guys, we're getting off here and go unload. And I got to get to Springfield. Talk to you later.